Well, hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Sam. I am a student of the Bible. I've been a pastor for 22 years, and my training is in the Bible, theology, and in biblical languages. And I'm a writer. I write on my blog. And I tell you all that because I make these videos, and people wonder, like, okay, so what do you do? Why do you make these videos? This is why. I've been going through Genesis, and there's a fascinating thing that pops up in Genesis chapter 2 that I want to talk about, that I think is really important as we think about the relationship between man and woman. And so, what does Genesis 2 actually say about the relationship between man and woman? What does this whole idea of being a helper mean in the Hebrew language, and what could it have meant, and the importance behind it? So I want to read a couple verses. We stopped off. Last time we talked about Genesis 1, Genesis 2 maybe being two different creation accounts, and what do we do with that? Genesis 2, jumping into that, we find by verse 18 in Genesis chapter 2 that God, Yahweh Elohim, is looking over all of his creation, and he's realizing that this Adam, this man that he's created, is all alone in this garden. He's tending to it. It's doing great, But he says, God says this thing in verse 18 that is fascinating, because in chapter 1, you get this impression, Genesis chapter 1, that everything is good. After every day, he saw that it was good. He saw it was good. Finally, he creates mankind. He saw it was very good, right? But in chapter 2, and then in verse 18, after seeing that the man is all alone in the garden, tending it all by himself, it says this: Then Yahweh Elohim, the Lord God, said, "It is not good for the man to be alone." It's not good. Something is bad. Something's off. Something's wrong. Something is not going well in the creation, and it's not good that he's alone. He's isolated. He's all by himself. So God says, "I will make a helper suitable for him." And what's important to understand about this word helper is this idea that we can, in our English language, get this false sense of what God is doing here is he needs to create somebody to be subservient to the man. That the man would then be the ruler, and the helper, whoever it is just there to meet the man's needs, to help the man, and all that kind of stuff. But the word that's actually used there, helper suitable in the Hebrew, is the words ezer kenegdo. Okay, ezer kenegdo. And it is translated suitable helper. Ezer means helper. Okay, and then the word kenegdo is translated suitable. But to be honest, I'm not a really big fan of the words, the translation there, helper suitable, because it can lend itself to that more misogynistic look at this. And when you look at the word ezer, this is what I wanted to talk about. You look at the word ezer in the rest of the Hebrew scriptures. A lot of times that word is actually used in relationship to Yahweh. It's used in relationship to God. And more often than being just a helper, the word ezer means to rescue, or to save, or to be strong. And so when used in relationship to God, it's used a lot of times in the Psalms, when someone's crying out to God, and God comes and is their helper. God is not somehow subservient to the person who's crying out for help. He's there to meet a need. He's there to rescue them. He's there to help them in a way that saves them, or a way that is strong for them. It's a rescuing kind of a word. And so this idea that ezer as a helper means as someone who's there to be subservient to the Adam, the man, it's not really a good translation. In fact, what we could say is that this creation of woman that we see is there to be the man's ezer, that he's in trouble, that he has a problem, and this is the solution. This is the solution to the problem. This is the rescuing help that the man needs to solve the problem. And so the woman then is the rescuer, which I think is fascinating. If you think about a lot of our fairy tales, that kind of stuff, it's always the woman who's in need of rescue, and there's this strong knight that comes. But from the very opening pages of the scriptures, it's the man who needs to be rescued, and the woman comes in as the rescuer in the story. Fascinating take, right? If she is the Ezer. The second word, though, kenegdo, is a fascinating word because it's translated suitable. But I love the idea of the fact that kenegdo also means like one just like, right? It's suitable, but it also means equally opposite of or corresponding to the one that they're being compared to. And so there's an equality. Kenegdo has this equality, is suitable, yes, like, but it doesn't just mean like opposite and like always. It means that they're equal, but in opposite to, but corresponding to the thing that they're to be matched up with. And so there is an equality there. And so what I like to say is that there is this beautiful partnership in equality and compatibility now between the Adam and the Ezer. That this rescuing helper has this equality side by side thing going on with Adam now, and that's why he said, "This is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. You shall be called Isha," which means woman, because you were taken out of man, Ish. And there's this togetherness, and then that two will become one. There's this one flesh. It's this equality thing that they make up one together, and so this passage cannot be used, in my opinion, to say that man is dominant over woman. And you look in the New Testament, you see Paul talking about, well, man was created first and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we get that creation order and all that kind of stuff. But from the very beginning, if we understand the word Ezer correctly, what we would understand is that the woman is the Ezer. She's the one who is the helping, rescuing person that is going to come and solve the problem for the man. And so I love the beauty of that together they complete the image of God. All right, that's Genesis chapter 2, the man and the woman. We'll get in Genesis 3 probably in the next video, but thanks for watching. We'd love for you to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.